Hello and welcome to this second look exploring session as we look at George-a-Greene, the pinner of Wakefield, attributed to Robert Crighton. And it is a play we've already looked at before in the earlier sessions. We've done 1.5 videos on this play. We enjoyed it so much the first time, we decided because it's Friday, we're going to read it all the way through. There are not going to be any stage directions to be helpful, so we're going to try and act out everything we can. Some things we can't. Sometimes some details will get a bit lost. Many of us are disguised at certain times, so we will endeavour to make it clear that who we are as we are disguised. Some of us are doubling, so some of the people who are doubling are also disguising themselves. So there may be some wibbly-wobbly around the edges confusion, and that's fine. There are fight scenes, they'll be a thing. And it's going to be, a good laugh, we hope. It's not a desperately long play, so hopefully we'll get a bit of a chance to chat about it afterwards. So all that really you need to do, have in terms of introduction to this play is just basically welcome to Bradford. And welcome to the worst rebellion ever, as it was quoted in the earlier session. And we got George-a-Greene. George-a-Greene is going to be read today by
Sarah Blake, actor, writer and director based in Germany.
Yeah, and George-a-Greene being pinner of Wakefield basically means he's a car parking attendant for cattle and livestock generally. So if your horses or sheep or whatever is where it shouldn't be, he's going to come for you. Is George going to definitely do that? Reading today, Cuddy. Reading Cuddy.
Yes, Dan, born, raised in Philadelphia, and now hailing from Montpellier, France. And
Cuddy is a son, I think. Yes, is a son to Musgrove. Who's reading Musgrove?
Hi, my name is Lynn Freitas. I'm a college writing teacher. I live in the northwestern United States.
And Musgrove, I think, is about 103. I can't remember. Am I confusing that with a different character? But up for it. Really up for everything is Musgrove. Reading Grime, and later on Marian is...
Hello, I'm Helen Good. I'm a historian and I'm in Yorkshire.
Reading King James. We're going to get a Scottish king. We're not going to say which King James this is. One of them is...
Aliki Chapel. I'm an actor, theatre maker and translator based in the north of England.
Because we've got one king, a Scottish king, we also have the English king, King Edward, as well as also doubling as Armstrong is with different hats.
Lois Potter. I live in London. I used to teach English literature.
Reading Mannering, and it's probably supposed to be Wily, but we christened it Willy last time, so let's see where we land on that one. Mannering and Willy today is...
Liza Graham, born and raised in Washington, D.C., now resident in London and unable to escape.
Reading Justice and Warwick today is...
I am Alan Scott, neither an actor nor an academic, and still based in Suffolk.
Reading First Townsman, Jane, and also Much is...
Alexandra, and it's always been my dream to do a play about cattle parking.
Yeah, that's the principal plotline. Absolutely, that's what it's all about. There is actually a scene where the issue of where someone puts livestock is actually is central to the point. That's why I actually brought it up now, because it really explains the scene later on. We read it the first time round and we weren't really sure what a pinner was most of the room, and it was only after the scene we went, oh, that's what the sun's going on. Reading Bonfield, Messenger, and Swill Scarlet is...
Hello, hi, I'm Eric, and I am disguised, but I don't know if I can read the text with this, so yeah, we'll see.
Reading John and Jenkin today is...
I'm Pamela Flanagan. I'm an actor based in London.
Reading Kendal and Robin Hood is...
I'm Steve Longstaffe, and there's absolutely no truth in the rumour that I am a long-lost son of Sean Connery.
Okay, we're going there. And reading a Bettris and a Shoemaker, leader of the Shoemakers. Many Shoemakers are inferred.
Hello, my name is Eleanor. I am an actor, singer and producer currently residing in Suffolk for this upcoming lockdown.
And I am your host, Robert Crighton. I today will be making inappropriate noises in between scenes to help denote when these scenes are happening. One of my inappropriate noises has stopped doing what it was supposed to be doing. It's a very simple device. It's just supposed to blow and it should work. It didn't. I'm quite gutted. But anyway, I'm going to be making more silly noises between scenes because this is a fun, silly play, and that's fine. But I'm also playing Ned. Yes, Ned a Barley. Young chap. Quite looking forward to that one. Always appropriate for someone with a beard to play a small child. So that is our team. Those are the people reading it today. We're going to be disappearing from your screens, many of us, as we're going to be going mute and invisible as we read through this play. So I'm going to invite those not in scene one to disappear from the screen. And as we're going to rattle through this play at pace and see how it all goes. It could be chaos. It should be fun. It's a Friday. That's what this is all about. So all that remains for me to say is thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to George-a-Greene and welcome to Bradford.
Welcome to Bradford, martial gentlemen, Lord Bonfield and Sir Gilbert Armstrong both, and all my troops, even to my basest groom. Courage and welcome, for the day is ours. Our cause is good. 'Tis for the land's avail. Then let us fight and die for England's good.
We will.
We will, my lord.
As I am Henry Montfort, Kendal's Earl, you honour me with this assent of yours, and here upon my sword I make protest, for to relieve the poor, or die myself. And know, my lords, that James, the King of Scots, wars hard upon the borders of this land. Here is his post. Say, John Taylor, what news with King James?
War, my lord, I tell, and good news I trow. For King Jamie vows to meet you the 26th of this month. God willing, marry doth he, sir.
My friends, you see what we have to win. Well, John, commend me to King James, and tell him I will meet him the 26th of this month, and all the rest. And so, farewell. Bonfield, why standst thou as a man in dumps? Courage! For if I win, I'll make thee Duke. I, Henry Montfort, will be king myself, and I will make thee the Duke of Lancaster, and Gilbert Armstrong, Lord of Doncaster.
Nothing, my lord, makes me amazed at all, but that our soldiers find our victuals scant. We must make havoc of those country swains, for so will the rest tremble and be afraid, and humbly send provision to your camp.
My Lord Bonfield gives good advice. They make a scorn and stand upon the king. So what is brought is sent from them perforce. Ask Mannering else.
What sayest thou, Mannering?
Whenas I showed your high commission, they made this answer only to send provision for your horses.
Well, hie thee to Wakefield. Bid the town to send me all provision that I want, lest I, like Marshal Tamburlaine, lay waste their bordering countries and leaving none alive. That contradicts my commission.
Let me alone, my lord, I'll make them veil their plumes. For whatsoe'er he be, the proudest knight, justice or other that gainsayeth your word, I'll clap him fast, to make the rest to fear.
Do so, Nick. Hie thee thither presently, and let us hear of thee again tomorrow.
Will you not remove, my lord?
No, I will lie at Bradford all this night, and all the next. Come, Bonfield, let us go, and listen out some bonny lasses here.
Master Mannering, stand aside while we confer what is best to do. Townsman of Wakefield, the Earl of Kendal here has sent for victuals, and in aiding him we show ourselves no less than traitors to the king. Therefore, let me hear, Townsman, what is your consent?
Even as you please, we are all content.
Then, Master Mannering, we are resolved.
As how?
Marry, sir, thus. We will send the Earl of Kendal no victuals, because he is a traitor to the king, and in aiding him we show ourselves no less.
Why, men of Wakefield, are you waxen mad that present Dane cannot whet your wits wisely to make provision of yourselves? The Earl is 30,000 men strong in power, and what town soever him resist, he lays it flat and level with the ground. Ye silly men, ye seek your own decay. Therefore send my lord such provision as he wants, so he will spare your town and come no nearer Wakefield than he is.
Master Mannering, you have your answer. You may be gone.
Well, Woodruff, for so I guess is thy name, I'll make thee curse thy overthwart denial, and all that sit upon the bench this day shall rue the hour they have withstood my lord's commission.
Do thy worst. We fear thee not.
See you these seals? Before you pass the town, I will have all things my lord doth want in spite of you.
Proud dapper Jack, veil bonnet to the bench that represents the person of the king, or, sirrah, I'll lay thy head before thy feet.
Why, who art thou?
Why, I am George-a-Greene, true liegeman to my king, who scorns that men of such esteem as these should brook the braves of any traitorous squire. You of the bench, and you, my fellow friends, neighbours, we subjects all unto the king. We are English born, and therefore Edward's friends, vowed unto him even in our mother's womb, our minds to God, our hearts unto our king, our wealth, our homage, and our carcasses be all King Edward's. Then, sir, we have nothing left for traitors but our swords, whetted to bathe them in your bloods, and die against you before we send you any victuals.
Well spoken, George-a-Greene.
Pray let George-a-Greene speak for us.
Sirrah, you get no victuals here, not if a hoof of beef would save your lives.
Fellow, I stand amazed at thy presumption. Why, what art thou that darest gainsay my lord, knowing his mighty puissance and his stroke? Why, my friend, I come not barely of myself, for see, I have a large commission.
Let me see it, sirrah. Whose seals be these?
This is the Earl of Kendal's seal at arms, this Lord Charnel Bonfield's, and this Sir Gilbert Armstrong's.
I tell thee, sirrah, did good King Edward's son seal a commission against the king his father, thus would I tear it, in spite of him, being traitor to my sovereign.
What? Hast thou torn my lord's commission? Thou shalt rue it, and so shall all Wakefield.
What, are you in choler? I will give you pills to cool your stomach. See thou these seals. Now, by my father's soul, which was a yeoman when he was alive, eat them, or eat my dagger's point, proud squire.
But thou dost but jest, I hope.
Sure, that you shall see before we two part.
Well, and there be no remedy. So, George.
Way!
One is gone. I pray you no more now.
Oh, sir, if one be good, the others cannot hurt. So, sir, Now you may go tell the Earl of Kendal, although I have rent his large commission, yet of courtesy I have sent all his seals back again by you.
What will do?
Now let him tell his lord that he hath spoke with George-a-Greene, hight pinner of merry Wakefield town, that hath physic for a fool, pills for a traitor that doth wrong his sovereign. Are you content with this that I have done?
I content, George, for highly hast thou honoured Wakefield town in cutting off proud Mannering so short. Come, thou shalt be my welcome guest today, for well thou hast deserved reward and favour.
Now, gentle father, list unto thy son, and for my mother's love, thou erst was blithe and bonny in thine eye. Grant one petition that I shall demand.
What is that, my Cuddy?
Father, you know the ancient enmity of late between the Musgroves and the Wily Scots, whereof they have oath not to leave one alive that strides a lance. Oh, father, you are old and waning age up unto the grave. Old William Musgrove, whom was thought the bravest horseman in all Westmoreland, is weak and forced to stay his arm upon a staff that erst could wield a lance. And gentle father, resign the hold to me. Give arms to youth and honor unto age.
Avaunt, false-hearted boy! My joints do creak even with anguish of thy words. Hath William Musgrove seen 100 years? Have I been feared and dreaded of the Scots, that when they heard my name in any road, they fled away and posted thence amain? And shall I die with shame now in mine age? No, Cuddy, no. Thus resolve I. Here have I lived, and here will Musgrove die.
Now, gentle Grime, God have mercy for our good cheer. Our fare was royal and our welcome great, and sith so kindly thou hast entertained us, if we return with happy victory, we will deal as friendly with thee in recompense.
Your welcome was but duty, gentle lord, for wherefore have we given us our wealth, but to make our betters welcome when they come. Oh, this goes hard, when traitors must be flattered. But life is sweet, and I cannot withstand it. God, I hope, will revenge the quarrel of my king.
What said you, Grime?
I said, Sir Gilbert, looking on my daughter, I cursed the hour that e'er I got the girl. For, sir, she may have many wealthy suitors, and yet she disdains them all. To have poor George-a-Greene unto her husband.
On that, good Grime, I am talking with thy daughter, but she in quirks and quiddities of love sets me to school. She is so overwise. But, gentle girl, if thou wilt forsake the pinner and be my love, I will advance thee high. To dignify those hairs of amber hue, I'll grace them with a chaplet made of pearl, set with choice rubies, sparks, and diamonds, planted upon a velvet hood to hide that head wherein two sapphires burn like sparkling fire. This will I do, fair Bettris, and far more, if thou wilt love the Lord of Doncaster.
Oh, my heart is in a higher place. Perhaps on the Earl, if that be he. See where he comes, or angry or in love, for why his colour looketh discontent.
Come, Nick, follow me.
Come, how now, my lord? What news?
Such news, Bonfield, as will make thee laugh. Fret thy fill to hear how Nick was used. Why, the justices stand on their terms. Nick, as you know, is haughty in his words. He laid the law unto the justices with threatening braves, that one looked on another ready to stoop. But that a churl came in, one George-a-Greene, the pinner of the town, and with his dagger drawn laid hands on Nick, and by no beggars swore that we were traitors, rent our commission, and upon a brave made Nick to eat the seals or brook the stab. Poor Mannering, afraid, came posting hither straight.
Oh, lovely George, oh, fortune be still thy friend. And as thy thoughts be high, or so be thy mind, in all accords, even to thy heart's desire.
What says for Bettris?
My lord, she is praying for George-a-Greene. He is the man, and she will none but him.
But him? Why, look on me, my girl. Thou knowest that yesternight I courted thee, and swore at my return to wed with thee. Then tell me, love, shall I have all thy fare?
I care not for earl, nor yet for knight, nor baron that is so bold. For George-a-Greene, the merry pinner, he hath my heart in hold.
Bootless, my lord, are many vain replies. Let us hie to Wakefield and send her the pinner's head.
It shall be so. Grime, gramercy, shut up thy daughter, bridle her affects. Let me not miss her when I make return. Therefore, look to her as to thy life, good Grime.
I warrant you, my lord.
And, Bettris, leave a base pinner for to love an earl. Fain would I see this pinner, George-a-Greene. It shall be thus. Nick Mannering shall lead on the battle, and we three will go to Wakefield in some disguise. But howsoever, I'll have his head today.
Why, Johnny, then the Earl of Kendal is blithe and hath brave men that troop along with him?
Aye, marry my liege, and hath good men that come along with him, and vows to meet you at Scrablesia, God willing.
If good Saint Andrew lend King Jamie leave, I will be with him at the appointed day. But soft, whose pretty boy art thou?
Sir, I am son unto Sir John Barley, eldest, and all that my mother had, Edward, my name.
And whither art thou going, a pretty Ned?
To seek some birds and kill them, if I can. And now my schoolmaster is also gone, so I have liberty to ply my bow, for when he comes I stir not from my book.
Lord Humes, but mark the visage of this child. By him I guess the beauty of his mother. None but Leda could breed Eleanor! Tell me, Ned, who is with him, with thy mother?
Naught but herself, and household servants, sir. If you would speak with her, knock at this gate.
Johnny, knock at the gate.
Oh, I'm betrayed. What multitudes be these?
Fear not, fair Jane, for all these men are mine, and all thy friends, if thou be friend to me. I am thy lover, James, the King of Scots, that oft have sued and wooed thee with many letters, painting my outward passion with my pen, when as my inward soul did bleed for woe. Little regard was given to my suit, but please thy husband's presence wrote it. Therefore, sweet Jane, I fitted me to time and hearing that thy husband was from Rome and come to crave what long I have desired.
Nay, soft you, sir, you get no entrance here that seek to wrong Sir John of Barley so, and offer such dishonour to my mother.
Why, what dishonour, Ned?
Though young, yet often have I heard my father say no greater wrong than to be made cuckold. Were I of age, or were my body strong, were he 10 kings, I would shoot him to the heart that would attempt to give Sir John the horn. Mother, let him not come in. I will go lie at Jockey Miller's house.
Stay him!
Well said, Ned. Thou hast given the king his answer, for were the ghost of Caesar on the earth, wrapped in the wonted glory of his honour, he should not make me wrong my husband so. But good King James is pleasant, as I guess, and means to try what humour I am in, else he would never have brought an host of men to have them witness of his Scottish lust.
Jane, faith, Jane.
Never reply, for I protest by the highliest holy God that doometh just revenge for things amiss, King James, of all men, shall not have my love.
Then list to me. St. Andrew, be my boot, but I'll raise thy castle to the very ground, unless thou opens gate and let me in.
I fear thee not, King Jamie. Do thy worst. This castle is too strong for thee to scale. Besides, tomorrow will Sir John come home.
Well, Jane, since thou disdainst King James's love, I'll draw thee on with sharp and deep extremes, for by my father's soul, this brat of thine shall perish. Here, before thine eyes, unless thou opens the gate and let me in.
Oh, deep extremes. My heart begins to break. My little Ned looks pale for fear. Cheer thee, my boy. I will do much for thee.
But not so much as to dishonour me.
And if thou diest, I cannot live, sweet Ned.
Then die with honour, mother, dying chaste.
I am armed. My husband's love, his honour and his fame join victory by virtue. Now, King James, if mother's tears cannot allay thine ire, then butcher him, for I will never yield. The son shall die before I wrong the father.
Wait, then he dies!
My lord, Musgrove is at hand.
Musgrove, the devil he is! To my horse!
Now, King James, thou art my prisoner.
Not thine, but that fortune's prisoner.
Father, the field is ours. Their colours we have seized, and Hume's is slain. I slew him hand to hand.
God and St. George.
Oh, Father, I am sore athirst.
Come in, young Cuddy. Come and drink thy fill. Bring in King Jamie with you as a guest, for all this broil was 'cause he could not enter.
The sweet content of men that live in love breeds fretting humours in a restless spine, and fancy, being checked by fortune's spite, grows too impatient in her sweet desires. Sweet to those men whom love leads on to bliss, but sour to me whose hap is still amiss.
Marry, amen, sir.
Sir, what do you cry our men at?
Why, did you not talk of love?
How do you know that?
Well, though I say it that should not say it, there are few fellows in our parish so nettled with love as I have been of late.
No, sir, I thought no less. When the other morning you rose so early to go to your wenches, sir, I had thought you had gone about my honest business.
Trow, you have hit it, for, master, be it known to you, there is some goodwill betwixt Madge the saucewife and I. Marry, she hath another lover.
Canst thou brook any rivals in thy love?
A rider? No, he is a sow gelder and goes afoot. But Madge pointed to meet me in your wheat close.
Well, did she meet you there?
Never make question of that. Oh, and first, I saluted her with a green gown, and after fell as hard a wooing as if the priest had been at our backs to have married us.
What did she grant?
Did she grant? Never make question of that. And she gave me a shirt collar wrought over with no counterfeit stuff.
What, was it gold?
Nay, 'twas better than gold.
What was it?
Right Coventry blue. Oh, we had no sooner come there, but what you who came by?
No, who?
Clym, the sow gelder.
Came he by?
He spied Madge and I sit together. He leapt from his horse, laid his hand on his dagger, and began to swear. Now, I, seeing he had a dagger, and I nothing but this twig in my hand, I gave him fair words, and said nothing. He comes to me, takes me by the bosom. "You whoreson slave," said he, "hold my horse, and look he take no cold in his feet." "No, marry shall he, sir," quoth I. "I'll lay my cloak underneath him." I took my cloak, spread it all along, and his horse on the midst of it.
A clown! Didst thou set his horse upon thy cloak?
Aye, but mark how I served him. Madge and he was no sooner gone down into the ditch, but I plucked out my knife, cut 4 holes in my cloak, and made his horse stand on the bare ground.
'Twas well done. Now, sir, go and survey my fields. If you find any cattle in the corn, to pound with them.
And if I find any in the pound, I shall turn them out.
Now, we have put the horses in the corn. Let us stand in some corner for to hear what braving terms the pinner will breathe when he spies our horses in the corn.
Oh, master, where are you? We have a prize.
A prize? What is it?
3 goodly horses in our wheat close.
3 horses in our wheat close? Whose be they?
Marry, that's a riddle to me, but they are there. Velvet horses. And I never saw such horses before. As my duty was, I put off my cap and said as followeth: "My masters, what do you make in our close?" One of them, hearing me ask what he made there, held up his head and neighed, and after his manner laughed as heartily as if a mare had been tied to his girdle. "My masters," said I, "it is no laughing matter, for if my master take you here, you go as round as a top to the pound." Another untoward jade, hearing me threaten him to the pound, and to tell you of them, cast up both his heels and let such a monstrous great fart that was as much in his language to say, "A fart for the pound and a fart for George-a-Greene." Now, I hearing this, put on my cap, blew my horn, called them all jades, and came to tell you.
Now, sir, go and drive me those horses 3 into the pound.
Do you hear? I were best to take a constable with me.
Why so?
Why, they, being gentlemen's horses, may stand on their reputation and will not obey me.
Go. Do as I bid you, sir.
Well, I may go.
Whither away, sir?
Whither away? I am going to put the horses in the pound.
Sir, those 3 horses belong to us, and we put them in, and they must tarry there and eat their fill.
Stay, I will go tell my master. Hear you, master, we have another prize. Those 3 horses be in your wheat close still, and here be 3 geldings more.
Oh, what be these?
These are the masters of the horses.
Now, gentlemen, I know not your degrees, but more you cannot be unless you be kings. Why wrong you us of Wakefield with your horses? I am the pinner, and before you pass, you shall make good the trespass they have done.
Peace, saucy mate, prate not to us. I tell thee, pinner, we are gentlemen.
Why, sir, so may I, sir, although I give no alms.
Thou? How art thou a gentleman?
And such is my master, and he may give as good arms as ever your great-grandfather could give.
May they let me hear how?
Marry, my master may give for his arms the picture of April in a green jerkin, with a rook on one fist and an horn on the other. But my master gives his arms the wrong way, for he gives the horn on his fist, and your grandfather, because he would not lose his arms, wears the horn on his own head.
Well, Pinner, sith our horses be in spite of thee, they now shall feed their fill, and eat until our leisures serve to go.
Now, by my father's soul, were good King Edward's horses in the corn, they shall amend the scathe, or kiss the pound, much more yours, sir, whatsoe'er you be.
My man, thou knowest not us. We do belong to Henry Montford, Earl of Kendal, men that before a month be full expired will be King Edward's betters in the land.
King Edward's betters? Rebel, thou liest.
Villain, what hast thou done? Thou hast struck an earl.
Why, what care I? A poor man, that is true, is better than an earl if he be false. Traitors reap no better favours at my hands.
Aye, so methinks, but thou shalt dear abide this blow. Now or never, lay hold on the pinner!
Stay, my lords. Let us parley on these broils. Not Hercules against two, the proverb is, nor I against so great a multitude. Had not your troops come marching as they did, I would have stopped your passage unto London. But now I'll fly to secret policy.
What dost thou murmur, George?
Marry, this, my lord. I muse, if thou be Henry Mumford, Kendal's earl, that thou wilt do poor George-a-Greene this wrong, ever to match me with a troop of men.
Why dost thou strike me then?
Why, my lord, measure me but by yourself. Had you a man had served you long, and heard your foe misuse you behind your back, and would not draw his sword in your defence, you would cashier him. Much more, King Edward is my king, and before I'll hear him so wronged, I'll die within this place, and maintain good whatsoever I have said. And if I speak not reason in this case, what I have said I'll maintain in this place.
Pardon, my lord, for this pinner, for trust me, he speaketh like a man of worth.
Well, George, wilt thou leave Wakefield and wend with me? I'll freely put up all, and pardon thee.
Ay, my lord, considering me one thing, you will leave these arms and follow your good king.
My George, I rise not against King Edward, but for the poor that is oppressed by wrong. And if King Edward will redress the same, I will not offer him disparagement, but otherwise, and so let this suffice. Now, thou hear'st the reason why I rise in arms. Now, wilt thou leave Wakefield and wend with me, I'll make thee captain of a hardy band. When I have my will, I will dub thee a knight.
Why, my lord, have you any hope to win?
Why, there is a prophecy to say that King James and I shall meet at London and make the king veil bonnet to us both.
Oh, if this were true, my lord, this were a mighty reason.
Why, it is a miraculous prophecy and cannot fail.
Well, my lord, you have almost turned me. Jenkin, come hither.
Sir?
Go your ways home, sir, and drive me those 3 horses home unto my house, and pour them down a bushel of good oats.
Well, I will. Must I give these scurvy horses oats?
Will it please you to command your train aside?
Stand aside.
Now list to me. Here in a wood not far from hence there dwells an old man in a cave alone, that can foretell what fortunes shall befall you, for he is greatly skilled in magic art. Go you three to him early in the morning and question him. If he says good, why then, my lord, I am the foremost man who will march up with your cap to London.
George, thou honourest me in this. But where shall we find him out?
My man shall conduct you to the place. But, good my lord, tell me true what the wise man saith.
That will I, as I am Earl of Kendal.
Why then, to honour George-a-Greene the more, vouchsafe a piece of beef at my poor house. You shall have wafer cakes your fill, a piece of beef hung up since Martelmas, if that you like not, take what you bring for me.
Gramercies, George.
Oh, what is love? It is some mighty power, else could it never conquer George-a-Greene. Here dwells a churl that keeps away his love. I know the worst, and if I be espied, 'tis but a beating. And if I, by this means, can get fair Bettris forth her father's door, it is enough. Venus, for me, of all the gods alone, be aiding to my wily enterprise.
And now? Who knocks there? What would you have? From whence came you? Where do you dwell?
I am, forsooth, a sempster's maid hard by that hath brought work home to your daughter.
Nay, you are you not? Some crafty queen that comes from George-a-Greene, that rascal, with some letters to my daughter. I'll have you searched.
Alas, sir, it is Hebrew unto me to tell me of George-a-Greene or any other. Search me, good sir, and if you find a letter about me, let me have the punishment that's due.
Why? Are you muffled? I like you the worse for that.
I am not sure, I am not, sir, ashamed to show my face. Yet loath I am my cheeks should take the air. Not that I'm chary of my beauty's hue, but that I'm troubled with the toothache sore.
A pretty wench, of smiling countenance. Old men can like, although they cannot love. Aye, and love, though not so brief as young men can. Well, go in, my wench, and speak with my daughter. I wonder much at the Earl of Kendal. Being a mighty man as still he is, yet for to be a traitor to his king is more than God or man will well allow. But what a fool am I to talk of him. My mind is more here to the pretty lass. Had she brought some £40 to town, I could be content to make her my wife. Yet I have heard it in a proverb said, he that is old and marries with a lass lies but at home and proves himself an ass. How now, my wench, how is't? What, not a word? Oh, alas, poor soul, the toothache plagues her sore. Well, my wench, here is an angel for to buy thee pins. And I pray thee, use mine house the oftener, the more welcome. Farewell.
Oh, blessed love and blessed fortune both! But, Bettris, stand not here to talk of love, but hie thee straight unto thy George-a-Greene. Never went roebuck swifter on the downs. Then I will trip it till I see my George.
Come away, Jenkin.
Come, here is his house. Where be you? Oh!
Who knocks there?
Here are 2 or 3 poor men, father, would speak with you.
Oh, pray, give your man leave to lead me forth.
Go, Jenkin, fetch him forth.
Come, old man.
Father, here are 3 poor men come to question thee. A word in secret that concerns their lives.
Say on, my sons.
Father, I am sure you hear the news, how that the Earl of Kendal wars against the king. Now, father, we 3 are gentlemen by birth, but younger brethren that want revenues, and for the hope we have to be preferred, if that we knew that we shall win, we will march with him. If not, we will not march afoot to London Moor. Therefore, good father, tell us what shall happen, whether the king or the Earl of Kendal shall win.
The king, my son.
Art thou sure of that?
Aye, as sure as thou art Henry Mumford, the one Lord Bonfield, the other Sir Gilbert Armstrong.
Why, this is wondrous, being blind of sight, his deep perseverance should be such as to know us.
Magic is mighty, and foretelleth great matters. Indeed, father, here is the Earl come to see thee, and therefore, good father, fable not with him.
Welcome is the Earl to my poor cell, and so are you, my lords. But let me counsel you to leave these wars against your king, and live in quiet.
Father, we come not for advice in war, but to know whether we shall win or lease.
Lose, gentle lords, but not by good King Edward. A baser man shall give you all the foil.
I marry, father, what man is that?
Poor George-a-Greene, the pinner.
What shall he?
Pull all your plumes and sore dishonour you.
He? As how?
Nay, the end tries all, but so it will fall out.
So it shall not, by my honour Christ. I'll raise my camp and fire Wakefield town, and take that servile pinner, George-a-Greene, and butcher him before King Edward's face.
Good my lord, be not offended, for I speak no more than art reveals to me, and for greater proof, give your man leave to fetch me my staff.
Jenkin, fetch him his walking staff.
Here is your walking staff.
I'll prove it good upon your carcasses. A wiser wizard never met you yet. Ha! Nor one that better could foredoom your fall. Now I have singled you here alone, I care not, though you be 3 to 1.
Villain, hast thou betrayed us?
Mumford, thou liest. Ne'er was I traitor yet. Only devised this guile to draw you on for to be combatants. Now conquer me, then march on to London. It shall go hard, but I will hold you task.
Come, my lord, cheerly. I'll kill him hand to hand.
£1,000 to him that strikes that stroke.
Then give it me, for I will have the first. Ha! Ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha ha! Ha!
Stay, George. We do appeal.
To whom?
Why, to the king, for rather had we bide what he appoints than here be murdered by servile groom.
What wilt thou do with us?
Even as Lord Bonfield wished. You shall unto the king, and for that purpose, see where the justice is placed.
Now, my lord of Kendal, where be all your threats? Even as the cause, so is the combat fallen. else one could never have conquered three.
I pray thee, Woodruff, do not twit me. If I have faulted, I must make amends.
Master Woodruff, here is not a place for many words. I beseech ye, sir, discharge all his soldiers, that every man may go home unto his own house.
It shall be so. What wilt thou do, George?
Master Woodruff, look to your charge. Leave me to myself.
Come, my lords.
Here sit thou, George, wearing a willow wreath as one despairing of thy beauteous love. Oh, fie, George, no more. Pine not away for that which cannot be. I cannot joy in any earthly bliss so long as I do want my Bettris.
Who see a master of mine?
Oh, how now, Sarah? Whither away?
Whither away? Why, who do you take me to be?
Why, Jenkin, my man.
I was so once indeed, but now the case is altered.
I pray thee as how?
Were not you a fortune teller today?
Well, what of that?
So sure am I become a juggler. What will you say if I juggle your sweetheart?
Peace, prating losel. A jealous father doth wait o'er her with such suspicious eyes, that if a man but dally by her feet, he think it straight a witch to charm his daughter.
Well, what will you give me if I bring her hither?
A suit of green, and 20 crowns besides.
Well, by your leave, give me room. You must give me something that you have lately worn.
Oh, well, here is a gown. Will that serve you?
Aye, this will serve me. Keep out of my circle, lest you be torn in pieces by she-devils. Mistress Bettris, once, twice, thrice. Oh, is this no cunning?
Is this my love, or is it but a shadow?
Aye, this is the shadow, but here is the substance.
Oh, tell me, sweet love, what good fortune brought thee hither? For one it was that favoured George-a-Greene.
Both love and fortune have brought me to my George, in whose sweet sight is all my heart's content.
Oh, tell me, sweet love, how camest thou from thy father's?
A willing mind hath many slips in love. It was not I, but Wily, the sweet boy.
And where is Wily now?
In my apparel, in my chamber still.
Jenkin, come hither. Go to Bradford and listen out for your fellow Wily. Come, Bettris, let us in, and in my cottage we will sit and talk.
Brother of Scotland, I do hold it hard, seeing a league of truce was late confirmed twixt you and me. Without displeasure offered, you should make such invasion in my land. The vows of kings should be as oracles, not blemished with the stain of any breach, chiefly where fealty and homage willeth it.
Brother of England, not the sore afresh. My conscience grieves me for my deep misdeed. I have the worst of 30,000 men. There escaped not 5,000 from the field.
For a mercy, Musgrove, else it had gone hard. Cuddy, I'll quite thee well ere we two part.
But had not his old father, William Musgrove, played twice the man, I had not now been here. A stronger man I seldom felt before, but one of more resolute valiance treads not, I think, upon England's ground.
I wot well Musgrove shall not lose his hire.
An it please your grace, my father was 63 at midsummer last past. Yet had King Jamie been as good as George-a-Greene, yet Billy Musgrove would have fought with him.
As George-a-Greene? I pray thee, Cuddy, let me question thee. Much have I heard since I came to my crown. Many in manner of a proverb say, were he as good as George-a-Greene, I would strike him sure. I pray thee, Cuddy, tell me, canst thou inform me, what is that George-a-Greene?
No, my lord, I never saw the man, but mickle talk is of him in the country. They say he is the pinner of Wakefield town, but for his other qualities I let alone.
May it please your grace, I know the man too well.
Too well? Why so, Warwick?
For once he swinged me till my bones did ache.
Why, dares he strike an earl?
An earl, my lord? Nay, he will strike a king, be it not King Edward. For stature he is framed like unto the picture of stout Hercules, and for his carriage passeth Robin Hood. The boldest earl or baron of your land that offers scathe unto the town of Wakefield, George will arrest his pledge unto the pound, and who resisteth bears away the blows, for he himself is good enough for 3.
Why, this is wondrous. My lord of Warwick, sore do I long to see this George-a-Greene. But leaving him, what shall we do, my lord, for to subdue the rebels in the north? They're now marching up to Doncaster. Oh, soft, who have we there?
Here is a traitor, the Earl of Kendal.
Aspiring traitor, how darest thou once cast thine eyes upon thy sovereign that honoured thee with kindness and with favour? But I will make thee buy this treason dear.
Good my lord.
Reply not, traitor. Tell me, Cuddy, whose deed of honour won the victory against this rebel?
George-a-Greene, the pinner of Wakefield.
George-a-Greene. Now shall I hear news certain what this pinner is. Discourse it briefly, Cuddy, how it befell.
Kendal and Bonfield with Sir Gilbert Armstrong came to Wakefield town disguised, and there spoke ill of your grace, which great George, but hearing, felled them at his feet, and had not rescue come unto the place, George had slain them in the close of wheat.
But Cuddy, canst thou not tell where I might give and grant something that might please and highly gratify the pinner's thoughts?
This, at their parting, George did say to me, if the king vouchsafe of this my service, then gentle Cuddy kneel upon thy knee, and humbly crave a boon of him for me.
Cuddy, what is it?
It with his will your grace would pardon them, and let them live, although they have offended.
I think the man striveth to be glorious. Well, George hath craved it, and it shall be granted, which none but he in England could have gotten. Live, Kendal, but as prisoner, so shalt thou end thy days within the tower.
Gracious is Edward to offending subjects.
My lord of Kendal, you are welcome to the court.
Nay, but ill come, as it falls out now. Ill come indeed, were it not for George-a-Greene. But, gentle king, for so you would aver, and Edward's betters, I salute you both. And here I vow, by good Saint George, you'll gain but little when your sums are counted. I sore do long to see this George-a-Greene. And for because I never saw the north, I will forthwith go see it. And for that to none I will be known, we will disguise ourselves and steal down secretly, thou and I, King James, Cuddy, and 2 or 3, and make a merry journey for a month. Away then, conduct him to the tower. Come on, King James, my heart must needs be merry if fortune makes such havoc of our foes.
Why, is not lovely Marian blithe of cheer? What ails my leman that she gins to lower? Say, good Marian, why art thou so sad?
Nothing, my Robin, grieves me to the heart. But whensoever I do walk abroad, I hear no songs at all but of George-a-Greene. Bettris, his fair leman, passeth me. And this, my Robin, galls my very soul.
Content! What recks it us though George-a-Greene be stout, so long as he doth proffer us no scathe? Envy doth seldom hurt but to itself, and therefore, Marian, smile upon thy Robin.
Never will Marian smile upon her Robin, nor lie with him under the greenwood shade, till that thou go to Wakefield on a green and beat the pinner for the love of me.
Content thee, Marian. I will ease thy grief. My merry men and I will thither stray. And here I vow that for the love of thee, I will beat George-a-Greene, or he shall beat me.
As I am Scarlet next to Little John, one of the boldest yeomen of the crew, so will I wend with Robin all along and try this pinner where what he dares do.
As I am much the miller's son that left my mill to go with thee, and ill repent what I have done, this pleasant life contenteth me. In aught I may to do thee good, I'll live and die with Robin Hood.
And Robin, Marian, she will go with thee to see fair Bettris, how bright she is of glee.
Marian, thou shalt go with thy Robin. Bend up your bows and see your strings be tight, the arrows keen, and everything be ready, and each of you a good bat on his neck, able to lay a good man on the ground.
I will have Freitas.
I'll have Little John's.
And I will have one made of an ashen plank, able to bear a bout or two. Then, come on, Marian, let us go. For before the sun does show the morning day, I will be at Wakefield to see this pinner, George-a-Greene.
My masters, he that had neither meat nor money, and hath lost his credit with the alewife, for anything I know, may go supperless to bed. But soft, who is here? Here is a shoemaker. He knows where is the best ale. Shoemaker, I pray thee, tell me, where is the best ale in the town?
Ah, a four, full of thy nose at the sign of the eggshell.
Come, shoemaker, if thou wilt, and take thy part of a pot.
Sirrah, down with your staff, down with your staff.
Why, how now? Is the fellow mad? I pray thee, tell me, why should I hold down my staff?
You will down with him, will you not, sir?
Why? Tell me wherefore.
My friend, this is the town of Merry Bradford, and here is a custom held that none shall pass with his staff on his shoulders, but he must have a bout with me, and so shall you, sir.
And so will I not, sir.
I will try. Barking dogs bite not the sorest.
I would to God I were once well rid of him.
Now, wilt you down with your staff?
Why, you are not in earnest, are you?
If I am not, take that.
Oh, you are, son. Cowardly scab. It is but the part of a clapper dudgeon to strike a man in the street. But darest thou walk to the town's end with me?
Aye, that I dare do, but stay till I lay in my tools, and I will go with thee to the town's end presently.
I would I knew how to be rid of this fellow.
Come, sir, will you go to the town's end now, sir?
Aye, sir, come. Now we are at the town's end. What say you now?
Marry, come, let's even have a bout.
Ah, stay a little. Hold thy hands, I pray thee.
Why, what's the matter?
Faith, I am under pinner of a town, and there is an order which if I do not keep, I shall be turned out of mine office.
And what is that, sir?
Whensoever I go to fight with anybody, I use to flourish my staff thrice about my head before I strike, and then show no favour.
Well, sir, until then I will not strike thee.
Well, sir, here is once, twice. Here is my hand. I will never do it the third time.
Why then, I shall, shall not fight.
Faith, no. Come, I will give thee 2 pots of the best ale, and be friends.
Faith, I see it is as hard to get water out of a flint as to get him to have a bout with me. Therefore, I will enter into him for some good cheer. My friend, I see thou art a faint-hearted fellow. Thou hast no stomach to fight. Therefore, let us go to the alehouse and drink.
Well content. Go thy ways and say thy prayers. Thou scapest my hands today.
Tell me, sweet love, how is thy mind content? What, canst thou brook to live with George-a-Greene?
Oh, George, how little pleasing are these words. Oh, came I from Bradford for the love of thee, and left my father for so sweet a friend? Here will I live until my life do end.
Oh, happy am I to have so sweet a love. Oh, but what are these come tracing here along?
3 men come striking through the corn, my love.
Back again, you foolish travellers, for you are wrong and may not wend this way.
That were great shame. Now, by my soul, proud sir, we be 3 tall yeomen, and thou art but 1. Come, we will forward in despite of him.
Leap the ditch, or I will make you skip. What, cannot the highway serve your turn, but you must make a path over the corn?
Art thou mad? Darest thou encounter 3? We are no babes, man. Look upon our limbs.
Sirrah, the biggest limbs have not the stoutest hearts. Were ye as good as Robin Hood and his 3 merry men, I'll drive you back the same way that you came. Be ye men, ye scorn to encounter me all at once, but be ye cowards, set upon me all 3, and try the pinner what he dares perform.
Were thou as high in deeds as thou art in naughty in words, then thou might well be a champion for the king. But empty vessels have the loudest sounds, and cowards prattle more than men of worth.
Sirrah, darest thou try me?
Aye, sirrah, that I dare.
Ha! Ha! Ha!
Hi, nay, what art thou doing? Come, sir, I am next.
Ha! 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 Ha!
Come, sirrah, now to me. Spare me not, for I'll not spare thee.
Oh, make no doubt I will be as liberal to thee. Ha! 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 Ooh! Ha! 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 Ha!
Stay, George, for I here do protest thou art the stoutest champion that ever I laid hands upon.
Oh, soft you, sir. By your leave you lie. You never yet laid hands on me.
George, wilt thou forsake Wakefield and go with me? 2 liveries will I give thee every year, and 40 crowns shall be thy fee.
Why, what thou?
Why, Robin Hood! I am come hither with my Marian, and these my yeomen, for to visit thee.
Robin Hood! Next to King Edward art thou lief to me. Welcome, sweet Robin. Welcome, maid Marian, and welcome you, my friends. Will you to my poor house? You shall have wafer cakes your fill, a piece of beef hung up since Martlemas, mutton and veal. If this like you not, take that you find, or that you bring for me.
God a mercy's good George. I'll be thy guest today.
Robin, therein thou honourest me. I'll lead the way.
Come on, King James. Now we are thus disguised, there's none I know will take us to be kings. I think we are now in Bradford, where all the merry shoemakers dwell.
Down with your staves, my friends, down with your staves.
Down with our staves, I pray thee, why so?
Oh, my friend, I see thou art a stranger here. Else would not have questioned of the thing. This is the town of merry Bradford, and here hath been a custom kept of old, that none may bear a staff upon his neck, but trail it along throughout the town, unless they mean to have a bout with me.
But hear you, sir, hath the king granted you this custom?
King or Kaiser, none shall pass this way, except King Edward. No, not the stoutest groom that wants his court. Therefore, down with your staves.
What were we best to do?
Faith, my lord, they are stout fellows, and because we shall have some sport, we will trail our staves.
Here's thou, my friend, because we are men of peace and travellers, we are content to trail our staves.
The way lies before you. Go along.
See, George, 2 men are passing through the town, 2 lusty men, and yet they trail their staves.
Oh, Robin, they are some peasants tricked in yeoman's weeds. Hello, you 2 travellers.
Call you us, sir?
Aye, you. Are ye not big enough to bear your bats upon your necks, but you must trail them along the streets?
Yes, sir, we are big enough. But here is a custom kept that none may pass his staff upon his neck unless he trail it at the weapon's point. Sir, we are men of peace and love to sleep in our whole skins, and therefore quietness is best.
Base-minded peasants, worthless to be men. What? Have you bones and limbs to strike a blow, and be your hearts so faint you cannot fight? Were't not for shame, I would rub your shoulders well and teach you manhood 'gainst another time.
Well preached, Sir Jack. Down with your staff.
Do you hear, my friends? And you be wise, keep down your staves, for all the town will rise upon you.
Thou speakest like an honest, quiet fellow, but hear you me. In spite of all the swains of Bradford town, bear me your staves upon your necks, or, to begin withal, I'll baste you so well you were never better basted in your lives.
We will hold up our staves.
Ha! What? Have you any more? Call all your town forth, cut and longtail.
What? George-a-Greene, is it you? A plague found you. I think you long to swinge me well. Come, George, we will crush a pot before we part.
A pot, you slave, we will have 100. Oh, here, Will Perkins, take my purse. Fetch me a stand of ale and set in the marketplace that all may drink that are athirst this day. For this is for a fee, to welcome Robin Hood to Bradford town.
Hey.
Here, Robin, sit thou here. Thou art the best man at the board this day. You that are strangers, place yourselves where you will. Robin, here's a carouse to good King Edward's self, and they that love him not, I would we had the basting of them a little. Huzzah!
Huzzah!
Come, masters, ale, fellows. Nay, Robin, you are the best man at the board today. Rise up, George.
Nay, my good liege, ill-nurtured were we then. Though we Yorkshiremen be blunt of speech and little skilled in court or such quaint fashions, yet nature teacheth us duty to our king. Therefore I humble beseech you, pardon, George-a-Greene?
Good my lord, a pardon for poor Robin, and for us all, a pardon. Good King Edward.
And I pray you, a pardon for the shoemakers.
I freely grant a pardon to you all.
Huzzah!
And George-a-Greene, give me thy hand. There's none in England that shall do thee wrong. Even from my court I came to see thyself, and now I see that fame speaks naught but truth.
I humbly thank your royal majesty. That which I did against the Earl of Kendal, 'twas but a subject's duty to his sovereign, and therefore little merits such good words.
Where'er I go, I'll grace thee with good deeds. Say what King Edward may perform, and thou shalt have it, being in England's bounds.
I have a lovely layman, as bright of blee as is the silver moon. And old Grime, her father, will not let her match with me because I am a pinner, although I love her, and she me dearly.
Oh, where is she?
At home at my poor house, and vows never to marry unless her father give consent, which is my great grief, my lord.
If this be all, I will dispatch it straight. I'll send for Grime and force him give his grant. He will not deny King Edward such a suit.
Oh, who saw a master of mine? Oh, he has gotten into company, and a body should rake hell for company.
Peace, ye slave! See where King Edward is?
George, what is he?
I beseech your grace pardon him. He is my man.
Oh, sirrah, the king hath been drinking with us and did pledge us too.
Hath he so? Kneel, I dub you gentleman.
Oh, beg it of the king, Jenkin.
I will. I beseech your worship, grant me one thing.
'Tis that?
Hark, in your ear.
Go your ways and do it.
Come, down on your knees. I have got it.
Oh, let us hear what it is first.
Marry, because you have drunk with the king, and the king had so graciously pledged you, you shall no more be called shoemakers, but you and yours, to the world's end, shall be called the trade of the gentle craft.
Each, I beseech your majesty, reform this which he hath spoken.
I beseech your worship, consume this which he hath spoken.
Confirm it, you would say. Well, he hath done it for you. It is sufficient. Come, George, we will go to Grime and have thy love.
I am sure your worship will abide, for yonder is coming old Musgrove and mad Cuddy, his son. Master, my fellow Wily comes dressed like a woman, and Master Grime will marry Wily. Oh, here they come.
Which is thy old father, Cuddy?
This, if it please your majesty.
Ah, old Musgrove, stand up. It fits not such grey hairs to kneel.
Long live my sovereign, long and happy be his days. Vouchsafe, my gracious lord, a simple gift at Billy Musgrove's hand. King James at Middleham Castle gave me this. This won the honour, and this I give thee.
Oh, God a mercy, Musgrove, for this friendly gift. And for thou fell'st a king with this same weapon, this blade shall here dub valiant Musgrove knight.
Alas, what hath your highness done? I am poor.
Oh, to mend thy living, take thou Middleham Castle and hold of me. And if thou want'st living, complain, thou shalt have more to maintain thine estate. George, which is thy love?
This, if please your majesty.
Art thou her aged father?
I am, an it like your majesty.
And wilt not give thy daughter unto George?
Yes, my lord, if he will let me marry with this lovely lass.
What sayest thou, George?
With all my heart, my lord, I give consent.
Then do I give my daughter unto George.
Then shall the marriage soon be at an end. Witness, my lord, if that I be a woman, for I am Willy, boy to George-a-Greene, who for my master wrought this subtle shift.
What? Is it a boy? What sayest thou to this, Grime?
Marry, my lord. I think this boy hath more knavery than all the world besides. Yet I am content that George shall both have my daughter and my lands.
Now, George, it rests I gratify thy worth, and therefore here I do bequeath to thee in full possession half that Kendal hath, and what as Bradford holds of me in chief, I give it frankly unto thee forever. Kneel down, George.
What will your majesty do?
Dub thee a knight, George.
I beseech your grace, grant me one thing.
What is that?
Then let me live and die a yeoman still. So was my father, so must live his son. For 'tis more credit to men of base degree to do great deeds than men of dignity.
Well, be it so, George.
I beseech your grace, dispatch with me and set down my ransom.
George-a-Greene, set down the King of Scots' ransom.
I beseech your grace pardon me, it passeth my skill.
Do it, the honour's thine.
Then let King James make good those towns which he hath burnt upon the borders. Give a small pension to the fatherless, whose fathers he caused murdered in those wars. Put in pledge for these things to your grace, and so return.
King James, are you content?
I am content, and like your majesty, and will live good castles in security.
I crave no more. Now, George-a-Greene, I'll to thy house, and when I've supped, I'll go to ask and see if Jane of Barley be so fair as good King James reports her for to be. And for the ancient custom of veil staff, keep it still, claim privilege from me. If any ask a reason why or how, say English Edward veiled his staff to you.
Huzzah!
Yay! And so ends the play. Some lovely things came out of that. Yeah, it's interesting actually. Some things working better than I was expecting. Some things working less. Actually, most of the time, actually the disguising wasn't a huge problem. Sometimes it was, sometimes it wasn't. And some of the doubling at the end there, where technically there were characters who were playing the same person but were on stage at the same time. No, it really didn't matter actually. It's great. So, do we actually need Bettris there for the marry at the end bit? Actually, no, not really.
It's just nice to put a crown on, Rob.
Yeah.
Isn't it nice?
I need my lady love.
Yeah. I nearly did myself an injury being taken out as the other Shoemaker. I thought the Shoemaker needed someone to fight with. Not quite the scale of fight scene that scene probably demands, but hey. So yes, we have completed our second look at George-a-Greene. Thoughts from the room about stuff we were enjoying there, stuff that how it came across. Thoughts about character, and what's going on with characters now that we're doing it at pace rather than stopping and starting, and some of those things. Whether there's any those who were here for the first session, whether there's any additional thoughts or changes of ideas since then. Those here for the first time. Sarah, you were George. How was George?
George was great. I really enjoyed George. I had my Errol Flynn moustache on all the way through that. I suppose there is, if you were staging this, you'd have to be careful with your characterization to make sure there was plenty of differentiation between him and Robin Hood. But no, I really enjoyed him. And I particularly enjoy that scene after Robin Hood turns up and he starts like man crushing on him. Because up to that point he's just been, slap your thigh, like, invincible, and then Robin turns up and he completely goes to pieces, and that was really fun to play.
Yes, well, I mean, you were saying that they need to be different. I mean, in many ways, there's an element of when they meet, they should look exactly the same.
True.
In my mind, it's like he's cosplaying Robin Hood all the way through.
Yeah, that's true.
And Robin Hood via Clarkson there, I felt at times. There was a certain kind of delivery there.
I'm not sure if they're alike. I mean, I think in some ways Robin Hood is sort of the mythical figure, and George-a-Greene is a real person. I mean, that's kind of how it comes across. It's as if Robin is a myth come alive, and not a very good one, as it turns out, especially with Marian. But I think that's partly why. I mean, they both he and George and Bettris, in fact, say lines from ballads. They have this funny way of kind of going in and out of their own legends.
Mm. I was just wondering, actually, with the casting there of Robin and Marian, of actually maybe it's the older Robin Hood trying to hold on to his legacy, and coming on. That thought just occurred to me as you were doing it, of just going, maybe they've been doing this Robin Hooding lark for a while, and now this newcomer's coming in, and that might be a thing to play with there.
And that works really nicely with the fanboying from George.
Yeah. Well, also we've got characters like Musgrove. So we've got this generational thing. There's lots of sons or young boys in relationship to older figures, and I'm just wondering if there's a generational thing throughout the play that could be played around with, which I didn't notice last time. Or not in the same way. Other thoughts, Eric?
Well, for Scarlet, the image that came to mind was actually because I don't have this kind of costume here. It was like someone in 80s sort of spandex, sort of stretching and doing the whole I'm a bodybuilder kind of thing, and just falling over when he gets beaten up. That was the image I had in mind. But obviously, I can't really do that with Zoom.
Yeah,
Zoom.
But that said, it fits really well because all of the fights are 80s fights, because it's the one person attacks at a time. It's not like, everybody tries, it's just and George-a-Greene deals with them, and then George-a-Greene deals with them, and it's like, just all go for him at the same time. Just do that.
Yeah, it's even acknowledged in where the three of them fight him one at a time. It's which I thought is quite cute. Is that it's sort of it knows what the play knows what it's doing, and is kind of hanging lampshades on what's going on, but it's doing it on several different levels, and that's brilliant. That's really clever.
Other thoughts, Willie? How's or Wily? As you were most of the play, you were Wily.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not sure how that name should be pronounced. Willie is funnier, and it's an actual name, but he uses the word Wily when he talks about himself in his first scene. So one to try various things and see how it works. And it was fun to be him. It's, again, if I get my hands on the play directorially, he and Grime will basically stay as a couple, and Grime's word knavery will basically mean sexiness.
Nice.
And
everybody's got to get married at the end.
That was not how I played it.
No, I saw your look of horror, but it's nothing new to me from romantic partners.
And so there's lots of there's whole shenanigans with Wily and Bettris getting her house, and the fact that Wily's still in the house and just I don't know, playing loud music in a bedroom, just going, no, we're not coming out. Father, go away.
But presumably he found out that it was Willie or Wily at some point because they're engaged by the last scene. He found out that it wasn't Bettris.
And they're still together.
They're still
so cute. Surely as well, Beatrice. There's something going on there as well. I don't know, in terms of pronunciations, and like there may very well be, a joke that we're missing, a la Willy Wiley. I don't know.
Aliki.
Well, I wonder if regional accent has something to do with it. Yorkshire sounds very, very strong now. Perhaps it did then too. And there's something there that...
Yes, certainly today we can definitely play around with accents a lot more, and that was something that I think this play calls, absolutely demands is proper voice coach to make sure that we're getting the accents right for where we're going. Obviously, we were mucking around with accents today, and that's fine. Don't sue us. Don't sue us.
Was that a critique of my comedy Frenchman? I'm sorry.
No, absolutely was not. Absolutely was not. But there wasn't that much attempt to head for Wakefield in many of the voices there, which is fine. It's fine. That's not a critique. That's just we're just reading through. That's all we're doing. It's because we've got these two kings, and we've got this sort of imposition of rebellion and plot and stuff that's that sort of dominates the first half, and sort of is like, do we want this plot happening? All this plot? Don't want this plot going on. We want to get on with George-a-Greene having a fight. Yes, Bettris, Eleanor, rather. How's your finding your journey of your love story there, or for that matter, the journey of the Shoemaker?
The Shoemaker was a lot more fun. I liked that. It has this running joke which I only got until about the second scene. I mean, Shoemaker only has 2 scenes, but that second scene where it's like, down with your staves, and I was like, okay. But I loved that because it's just this idea of, I want to have a fight, and then it's just, actually no, okay, right, you're actually better fighting than me. I'm gonna walk away, gonna shimmy away from all of this. Whereas Beatrice, I feel, is more like, it felt more like your pantomime sweet princess has that type of narrative. I could definitely feel like some of it's behind yous. Yes, no's, boos, particularly for this play. But I just like the character because I get to wear the really nice crown, so...
Yeah, let's not knock their costuming possibilities. It's also interesting, that long scene you have Shoemaker with Jenkin, and Pamela. I was passing out parts. I was thinking, John Jenkin. That can't be too good. And then I remember Jenkin actually does quite a lot. I'd forgotten that Jenkin had sort of fallen out of my head in terms of scale of parts.
Yeah, I hadn't realised, because when I was reading through, I was like, okay, John, that's cool. I did forget to come in on one of them today. I'm very sorry. I was so busy getting to Jenkin because I was excited. But yeah, he turns up a lot, and he's really fun to play.
Yeah, it's just not a part I'd noted, actually, of being that's a good part. For some reason, I don't know why, it just slipped me by. As I leapt, there's Robin, there's this. But no, Jenkin is a really solid part. That's one to earmark. Any other thoughts? Lois, you were doing some really quick changes there between Armstrong and the King Edward.
Mostly, yes. Yes, I'm terribly sorry. I don't know if you can edit out all those bits from my video. Kept going on and off. It just got a very, very light touch. I kept getting nervous about turning it on and off, and the minute my finger got near it, it seemed to go on again. And so, anyway, sorry. I love playing King Edward. He's just such a goof. And what's so funny is comparing it with Edward IV. I mean, I don't know which Edward they were thinking of, and they probably weren't thinking of anyone, but I mean, they both do the same thing. They just, they never met a disguise they didn't like, and as soon as there's a goofy shoemaker or somebody around, they want to go see them. Never mind state affairs. They deal with them in about one sentence.
Yes, we are halfway through Edward IV at the moment. We were curtailed, but hopefully we should be getting to part 2 again very, very, very soon. I think Alexandra last time went the only meeting of a James and an Edward was Edward IV, neatly. So it might be Edward IV. And there is this question, is this a history play?
Not as we know it, Jim.
Because we have these collections of sort of pseudo history plays that aren't really history plays at all, but they're playing with history in silly ways. I'll go to Dan, then Alexandra.
Yeah, just to mention when it was, the record of it being staged was 1593, 1594, so by 3 different companies, and it does fit in with those quasi-history plays that we've done. At least in terms of you can't really classify it. So
yeah, we've done a few really unclassifiable ones. Alexandra, then Stephen, then Helen.
I forgot my hand up. Stephen, you can have it.
It reminded me of Touch of Cloth. Has anyone ever seen that? It's a spoof Midsummer Murder style comedy in the vein of Airplane, but it casts people who've done straight detective shows as the leads, and they have a great deal of fun sending all that stuff up. So I think it's Dan's point, really. The same people who are doing, the Earl of Warwick are going, "You're the Earl of Kendal this time," and they would just kind of pastiche their own shtick. And I think that I would go and see that. I think people are far too solemn about the 1590s in particular, and tragic lines and people being deeply significant. I'd be quite happy if they would be so bored with these kind of by numbers things. I think that it's a really nice idea to think of them just going, "Oh, good, let's just take the piss out of this from start to finish, and then back to Edward IV tomorrow."
Dan, again, just briefly before I go to Helen.
Yeah, and it was just a brief comment that one of the one person that we know might have been played was, or not by name, but it was testified that a minister had actually played George-a-Greene, at least at one point.
Yeah.
So just the idea of people not taking themselves too seriously, just to go on Stephen's point.
Helen.
Yeah, it's my first time with this play. I've seen the video, but I haven't been in it before. What this time really worried me was we never found out what happened to Ned. We left him in a situation of extreme peril. And I was rather engaged with that little lad who seemed to be very brave and very articulate considering all things. And he was about to be possibly not horribly murdered, but certainly he was in danger. And he disappears.
Yeah, I have to say I didn't clock it the first time around, but yes, they say they're going to kill him. There's a trumpet sounds, which I was incapable of doing, because I was in the scene, and then they just all troop off. So you could actually literally die at that point. I mean, the play is light and fun and frothy, but it does mention at some point, I think 25,000 people are dead. There's a fucking great the list of dead people halfway through the play, and I think I said last time there's 2 lines I probably cut because I don't want to linger on that point. I don't want any death in this play because it's really not about that. And okay, George does kill someone at one point, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
But we could make him just knock him out.
Just knock him out.
Just knock him out. Because knocking people unconscious doesn't cause brain damage at all. That has no consequences in drama. Sorry, Aliki, your hand's been up for ages.
I was just saying there are several points in the play where the action is telling the story and the dialogue doesn't. And I think we have to assume that the boy is rescued. And in some like hilarious way that makes James look like an idiot. That would be my...
Yeah.
Yes, the little boy is saved. Sarah.
Well, I just, honestly, following on what Aliki was saying there about action, I just assume that the trumpets go. He's literally saved by the trumpets. the king's like, oh, damn, we must go to the trumpets. Like, Ned's there with his eyes closed, waiting for the blow. And then, like, he just stands there on the stage for ages on his own. And then eventually he opens his eyes and looks around and they've gone. And he's just like, oh, okay, right, I'm off. Because, I mean...
Yeah.
That's wring as much comedy out of that as you possibly can.
Yeah, I was going for quite a broad interpretation. Lois.
Yeah, surely he's got to be saved. I mean, his mother has lines after that, and she doesn't ever say everything's fine except that they killed my son. I mean, really. Also, I did want to say, I don't think this play could have been given after about, I think it was 1598. There's a point at which James VI of Scotland did actually complain to I think the Privy Council. He'd heard from his ambassador, I suppose, that there were plays ridiculing the Scots, and he thought that the authors of those plays ought to be punished. And I'm sure he's thinking mainly of Edward III, where there's also a King James who behaves like a real idiot and is sent up. But there is also a pretty stupid King James in this one, and I suspect that this kind of play just couldn't have been done after that, or at least not anywhere where anybody would know about it.
Only in the provinces.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, this is one where you think this has got a tour to the north. We had a lot of that discussion last time. I don't know, Stephen disagreeing with that. I saw a face there. Other thoughts as we sort of wind down the session? So Lynn, then Alexandra.
Yeah, just really quick because I'm going to duck out. I really liked Stephen's conjecture that the actors who played the aristocrats and titled people in the more politically oriented histories went on to play comic versions of those parts in plays like George-a-Greene. I love that idea because the play is really aware of its own theatricality. It's really meta, right? The fact that like everybody's in disguise at some point. I mean, that's hilarious. And like we were talking about the lack of realism in the fighting. George gets to take on his opponents one at a time instead of all three of them doing the logical thing and attacking him together. So, I mean, I think the play is very, very theatrical and very aware of its own conventions. So the idea that it also, there's this sort of parody element to it. Yeah, I think staging it, even today, it needs to be really aware of its own staginess. I think that's part of how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. The way some of the asides work as well, with people sort of literally just standing there, probably just, it feels like they're just standing there waiting for you. Finish your aside? Good. Move on. There's one or two moments like that. Alexandra.
And there's that wonderful one is it in the first scene that's like, what were you saying? Oh, nothing. I was just saying how good it is to see you.
Alexandra.
Yeah, just to echo something that Lynn was saying, and also that Aliki said, mentioned earlier about the way in this kind of the play dictates its own staging. There is that scene. I think one of the reasons why it's confusing, that moment where they're going to kill Ned, and then there's a trumpet, and then they're back on stage, but it's several hours later, and there's been a battle, and things have happened. So because we weren't reading the stage directions, that feels like a very strange moment, as in we weren't reading them out. So it feels strange as in performance. It will be strange on this recording. Sorry. But yeah, obviously when you're doing it on stage, what that is, even if there isn't enough indication in the text that that's what needs to happen, it's one of many opportunities to do a lot with physicality and to, stage that little moment with Ned in a whole variety of ways to achieve a whole variety of things, but also stage what the battle is or isn't. If it's a skirmish rather than a great big massacre, and then they come back and go, yep, 25,000 people. That says something different to if you stage it as a battle, and that diminishes what happens when you get one-on-ones later on. Or affects it anyway. So yeah, I think there's so much physicality, both expressed and implied, and available as opportunities in this play, that It's very, very fascinating.
Yeah, I see sort of backlit shadow puppet theatre for various battle scenes, in really quite silly ways, rather than artiness. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about this in various different veins and threads about how we would stage this, and I think that sense of fun, that sense of playfulness, that connection with the audience, is one that feels like you need the audience for it to properly function. But that might be something to discuss in another place. Eric?
I was just going to say that you could probably stage it with like fake lightsabers just going like with them making the sound effects as well. Just like it's so like it's that crap. We couldn't afford props kind of.
Or wiffle bats, things like that.
I don't know. It's just, it would be fun.
Okay, so I'm not going to go around the room all the way around for final thoughts. So it is just final comments from anyone that they've got anything else to say about this, about what they want to do with it, their own individual character you want to just throw in now. Now is your last chance. So sort of general call for final thoughts before I close the session. And I look and I see there is no movement. Willie.
Just that basically, I think this play is really stage-worthy. It's, in places it's incredibly stupid, but you have to embrace the stupidity. And I can't wait for an opportunity to put this on stage.
Yeah, certainly at the moment I'm thinking outdoors because, with COVID restrictions, that's probably the only place where you're going to be doing any live performance anytime soon. So, summer people, see you in the glorious north of England sunshine.
Not like I've got anywhere else to go.
Right, in the absence of any other additional comments, I'm going to close the session. I'd like to thank everyone for being great sports this afternoon and digging in and mucking about with this play. It wasn't rehearsed, it wasn't perfect, but we don't care. It's a Friday. So all that remains is to thank everybody here and goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.